On the morning of March 30th, 2007 in Virginia, a shocking and heartbreaking incident occurred that reflects a common and painful issue. A hard-working mother, named Lynn Balfour, received a phone call from her babysitter, anxiously asking, "Why didn't you drop your son off this morning?" Lynn became confused and insisted that she did drop her child off at the babysitter's this morning. But moments later, in an unforgettable moment of terror, she realized the terrifying truth. Her son, Bryce, who was only 9 months old, had been forgotten in the car all day. This led to his tragic death by suffocation. This devastating event, while seemingly exceptional, is not isolated. In the United States, an average of 37 children die each year from being left in hot cars. This statistic spans various socioeconomic backgrounds and includes both mothers and fathers. These parents are often loving and attentive, making the tragedy even more incomprehensible. To understand what happened in our tragic story, we need to understand how the brain works, where the malfunction occurred that caused such an incident, and what are the hidden details of this story. The human brain is an incredibly complex organ. Even today, it's a mystery that scientists are trying to fully understand. Sure, we've learned a lot about it, but there's still so much we don't know. You can imagine the brain as a huge corporation with different departments working together seamlessly. There are 3 main parts that play distinct roles in our perception and interaction with the world. They work together like a perfectly synchronized orchestra, each section contributing to the harmony of the whole performance. First, we have the basal ganglia. Think of this as the junior employee, handling the routine, mundane tasks. The brain tells it, "Okay, you'll take care of the basics, walking, eating, driving, and using the bathroom. Just stick to your routine and don't worry about the big stuff." Next, we have the hippocampus, a more respected employee, if I may say so. This is the head of the archives department, storing and retrieving information we need throughout the day. Finally, on the top floor, we have the CEO, the prefrontal cortex. This is the big boss, the part of the brain responsible for thinking, analyzing, decision-making, and problem-solving. These 3 parts usually work in harmony, creating a smooth and efficient operation. But what happens when things go wrong? And where does forgetting come into play? To understand this better, let's revisit Lynn's tragic day. The mother who forgot her son in the car. Lynn was up all night with her son Bryce, who had a cold. On top of that, she was dealing with work stress. During her morning drive, she was on a call with a relative facing a problem, and then her manager called about an issue at work. Exhausted, sleep-deprived, and distracted, Lynn's brain was under immense pressure. When we are under severe stress, the most developed parts of our brain, the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus, can shut down. The CEO and the head archivist take a break. Who takes over then? The basal ganglia, the junior employee, kicks in and runs on autopilot. Now let me explain what autopilot mode really means. When the basal ganglia takes control, it handles actions based on habits and routines without conscious thought. Imagine that you are driving your car home from work. You simply know how to drive a car as a routine act, but you no longer remember and understand the path of your trip. So you continue driving without awareness of your destination. That's autopilot. Your brain is performing tasks automatically, without active decision-making. This mode is efficient for routine tasks, but can be dangerous when unexpected situations arise. The basal ganglia can handle basic routines, but can't think, remember, or analyze. It simply operates automatically. This is what happened with Lynn. Her brain, running on autopilot, got her to work, and she mechanically went about her day, forgetting her son was still in the car. Adding to this tragic scenario, Lynn's routine had changed. The baby seat was being repaired, so Bryce was in a different seat, behind the driver, instead of his usual spot where Lynn could see him. Bryce was also unusually quiet because he was sick and had fallen asleep. Moreover, her husband's car was out of order, so she had driven him to work that day. Because he was in the car, the usual baby bag, which serves as a visual reminder for Lynn, was moved out of its usual place and was hidden behind her seat. Under all this stress, the brain's routine employee, the basal ganglia, took over. It followed the usual pattern: park the car, get out, and head to work. It didn't register the deviation in her routine, and this tragic oversight occurred. Forgetting isn't just a malfunction or an unintended symptom that causes problems. On the contrary, forgetting is an intentional system of the brain that runs parallel to the process of remembering. But wait, does that mean my brain is making me forget on purpose? Is it actively working against me to make me forget information that I already know? Exactly. This system has specific goals and is crucial for our survival. How can that be? We have two systems that seem to be working against each other, one to remember and one to forget. How does that make any sense? The truth is, these two systems, although they seem opposite, actually work together towards a common goal. The processes of remembering and forgetting are both essential for our cognitive function. They help us focus on making the right decisions. Imagine if you never forgot anything. Essential information would be buried under a mountain of trivial details. Consider the sensory overload from remembering every single detail, such as the taste of the first bite of your favorite meal or the sound of raindrops tapping against the window on a cozy evening. Our brains are constantly bombarded with sensory information, and it has to decide what to keep and what to discard. Most of this information ends up being forgotten, which is a good thing. If we remembered everything, it would slow us down in critical situations as we sift through unnecessary details. Forgetting helps us prioritize what's important, allowing us to make quicker and more effective decisions. Forgetting isn't a flaw, it's a survival mechanism. Our brains are adept at storing vast amounts of information, but the real challenge is in processing and retrieving what's crucial. Forgetting might be one of the brain's primary functions. The brain isn't just about thinking, it's also about discarding what's unnecessary. But forgetting still feels like a weakness. Wouldn't it be better to remember everything? If our forgetting system didn't function properly, we'd be overwhelmed by a constant flood of memories. Consider Jill Price, the only scientifically documented case of extraordinary autobiographical memory. Jill can remember every detail of her life since she was 14. If you ask her about any random date, she can tell you exactly what she ate and wore that day. However, research shows that this extraordinary memory doesn't provide significant mental advantages. On the contrary, it can be quite detrimental. People who can't forget traumatic events often suffer because of it. Jill herself wrote a book titled The Woman Who Can't Forget, where she describes the challenges of living with her condition. She mentions that she struggled with focusing on the present and planning for the future because her brain was constantly tied to the past, flooded with unfiltered secondary information. This was mentally and emotionally exhausting for her. Jill's case is extremely rare, but it highlights how crucial the ability to forget is for our mental health and overall cognitive function. In neuroscience and even in artificial intelligence, the balance between memory and forgetting is crucial. Artificial intelligence systems, for example, are designed to forget irrelevant data to function effectively, reflecting the human brain's need to filter information. In essence, understanding the mechanisms of memory offers a profound insight into the human condition. It unveils the intricate tapestry of our minds, where memories intertwine with emotions, shaping our perceptions and guiding our actions. As we unravel the mysteries of memory, we embark on a journey of self-discovery, realizing the beauty and complexity of our cognitive abilities. This awareness not only deepens our understanding of ourselves, but also enriches our connections with others, fostering empathy and compassion in our shared human experience. We appreciate your attention throughout this video. Kindly consider subscribing and endorsing our work by clicking the like button. We look forward to your engagement in our future projects.